Seeing as Caledonia Works are working on a new E2 tank engine for Train Simulator, I figured this was an appropriate time to look at another locomotive from the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. This is a mini-documentary about the K class of 1913, and instead of using real photographs, this video will be made up entirely of footage recorded in TS. For reference, the K class was released for the game in February 2023, as only the second add-on to use Locomotion 2.0 scripting. In addition, this was one of the add-ons gifted to me by Chris Wilson himself in October 2025. The K class was a 260 tender engine designed by Lawson Billington, and a total of 17 examples would be built between 1913 and 1921. 20 locomotives were planned, but the last 3 were never completed after initially being put on hold for a backlog of repairs at Brighton Works. The K class was notable for being the first LBSCR locomotives to use the 260 wheel arrangement, and they also had bell pair instead of round-topped fireboxes. Personally, I reckon the Ks look like a smaller version of the N15X class 460, which were rebuilds of the L class 464 tanks. The Ks were intended to remove the need for C2X class 060s to double-head freight trains in South London, but they also proved themselves to be capable mixed traffic locomotives. The initial 10 members of the K class proved very useful during World War I, when they hauled munitions and other episodes of tugs. No wait, that's not right. They hauled munitions and other supply trains from London to the ports at Newhaven or Littlehampton. As time went on, a few members of the class, including 340, 341, 342 and 351, were used as test beds for various experimental equipment. In 351's case, she was fitted with a Lewis draft regulator and extended smoke box between 1921 and 1927. All 17 Ks passed into Southern Railway ownership upon the grouping in 1923, and initially had a B prefix added to their numbers, the B being short for Brighton, but the B was later replaced by the number 2. For example, locomotive number 337, the class leader, initially became B337 and later 2337. During the interwar years, the class was kept busy on passenger or freight duties throughout the Southern Railway network, but had the height of their chimneys, domes, and cab roofs reduced in order to fit within tighter loading gauges outside the former LBSCR system. During World War II, they were frequently used on freight and troop trains once again. When the Southern Railway became part of British Railways, the Ks, and all the other Southern engines, had 30,000 added to their numbers. These 260s were still in good working order at the time, and continued to provide reliable service into the early 1960s, but were withdrawn en masse in late 1962. This wasn't because they were in poor condition, but rather, apparently to keep in line with the Southern region's withdrawal program. In other words, the Ks were withdrawn mainly for bookkeeping rather than operational reasons. Sadly, all members of the K class were scrapped. The Bluebell Railway in Sussex had hoped to preserve one, but were unable to do so as they had to put all their money towards purchasing the freehold of the line. As for the liveries worn by the K class throughout their lives, I'll go off what's included in the Caledonia Works add-on. The pack includes LBSCR Works Grey, LBSCR Photographic Grey, LBSCR Marsh Umber, a transitional variant of Marsh Umber, Southern Railway Brighton Green, two variants of SR Maunsell lined green, one with yellow lining and the other with white lining, Maunsell unlined green, two variants of SR black with green lining, SR unlined black, SR pre-war malachite green, SR post-war malachite green, SR unlined black with bullied sunshine lettering, as opposed to the 10-cent lettering, British Railways transitional black, still with sunshine lettering, BR black with Gill Sands lettering and a smokebox number plate, and BR lined black with either the early crest or late crest. For some reason, you also get variants where the crests are much larger, but I've just put the small ones down. The upcoming 00 scale models from Sonic Models also have LBSCR lined black and Southern Railway Uri green in the list of variants that will be available, but those liveries are not included in the CW pack. As for my favourite amongst the selection that is included, that is a tie between London, Brighton and South Coast Railway Marsh Umber and Southern Railway post-war malachite green. The K class were one of the most successful locomotive designs from the LBSCR, but they never achieved the same level of fame as other engines from the company, such as the A1/A1X Terrier and E2 classes. The Ks may be long gone in real life, but they've been kept alive in a virtual capacity thanks to the efforts of Caledonia Works. I didn't think I could do the Ks justice in a normal review because I'm unlikely to drive them as often as other locomotives from CW's range, but I still wanted to make a video about Billington's 260s. Until next time, thank you all for watching and take care.